Hello, hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining the webinar. Today, we will talk about with Enact, and our dear guest will talk about how you could expand and increase your solar sales and bring them to the next level. We will showcase the advantages of Enact solar design software, leader in today's solar design software market. We have two special guests with us, Nikhil Nakar, Managing Director of SolarSquare, Indian leader solar EPC, company now in the top 5 list in India. Welcome, Nikhil. And we also have Ethan.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
We also have Ethan, recently joined as a president of global sales for India-based GW Scale module manufacturer, GREW. Good morning and welcome, Ethan, to you.
Thank you.
And we also have Deep, CEO of Enact, who will engage with Nikhil and Ethan on a discussion on how software can help scale up solar sales and operation businesses. But first, we have Arsha from Enact team with a short introduction of our solar design platform.
Thank you, Daniel. So, good morning, everybody. So first of all, thank you so much for your time. In terms of Enact, so we are a leading software platform useful for solar companies where you can quickly do designs for industrial projects. Now, we are a platform. One side faces the solar company where, let's say, you have received the and you want to quickly generate a proposal, the solar PV system size possible on that rooftop, and also submit a proposal to the customer quickly. In this market, as you already know, speed is very important, essential for winning deals. So you can go to Enact. All you need is the location of the that you're working on, and secondly, the approximate electricity bills from the customer. So what you would be doing is go to Enact, quickly design the 3D model of the entire customer. Enact already tracks and provides the DISCOM utility rates. So electricity prices are built in within Enact and also for a lot of the then you lay panels according to your specifications, whichever is your preferred solar panels. And you can run all types of simulations for generation analysis, getting layout and shading analysis. And once you're happy with the entire 3D model and you can go on to update your financial analysis. You can update your entire details right from panel inverter structure, every nut and bolt level. So all your costing is all can be built in as one-time activity, and then submit a very customized proposal, which includes their detailed analysis of their payback periods. In fact, you can also get like a hourly data generation on the solar part. And then you can provide the entire cash flow analysis for the customer with 25-year savings projections, and also with finance or finance options as well. So with finance, again, most of you, when you're posing your projects to the customer, might want to include any loan options or PPA options. You can model all of them within Enact. And once the proposal is submitted, let's say you can also track the entire project from the time you got this lead to creating the proposal to actually commissioning the project within Enact using our project management system, and upload related documents around this. And then once the project is commissioned, the other side of the Enact app, which is the consumer solar app, you can actually manage all these projects within the Enact platform, where you can track outcomes, you can track your customer savings, you can even show them what was actually promised versus what is actually delivered. And in some cases, if you're ready to monetize your tax and carbon benefits, you can also provide that as well. Now, in terms of the output that you would get, as I said, now you would be able to actually completely customize the proposal with beautiful looking graphs within 5 to 10 minutes of getting a location. So the advantage of this is, again, one, where you are typically spending around 24 hours to 48 hours or beyond to schedule a site visit and then submit a proposal. Using Enact, you can cut down this entire time and deliver a first cut proposal within 15 minutes of receiving the lead. And also with all the detailed simulations and the pricing information, as I said. And this is the entire cycle as we envisage. So where you submit the proposal, then you can do all the video calls to the customer, schedule a call, sign the entire agreement using our interfaces with DocuSign or any digital contract platform. Then that's when you actually do the site visit with your technical team. So your design team is then in that designs and get into installation. Once the plant is commissioned, you will be able to use track the entire savings and performance of that plant. And then the customer will be able to receive insights. Even if the customer has multiple sites, all of them can be bundled within Enact, and they get a single interface for all their plants, irrespective of whatever inverters that you're using. So we already have connectivity. Most of the popular inverters are used across the world, and you can connect API data with generation numbers. You also have a built-in referral program within the Enact app. So this says if the customer is already happy with what you're doing and your work, they can start referring. And as you know, in this EPC business, referrals are very important to build your business and generate newer contracts. And one final thing I would like to cover about the features in Enact is, since Enact tracks all DISCOM and utility information, you would be getting today payback periods and cash for your customers. So this way, what happens is you will be able to commit a good number, which most of your competitors will not be able to do it because they are assuming some like a single number, like 8 rupees or 7 rupee tariff, whereas in Enact we can be actually able to track different tariffs, time of day, time of use, and seasonal tariffs across India. And finally, if you are looking at, say, in the future, building storage on proposal, or if you're looking at replacing generators for customers, so all of this can be modeled within Enact and provided to the customer. So this way, what happens is, one, you eliminate the need for a site visit in the at least the first cut. You are able to give very accurate proposals. And thirdly, it can also be used as a lead generation engine as well. So imagine, like, let's say you're in Maharashtra and you want to generate leads for you. So you can go to an industrial cluster and start using to lay down panels on all these roofs virtually. Then you will be ready with all these potential proposals. Our sales team will actually go to the customer and actually start working with the sales pitches. So where they can go with real savings, real consumption, and the actual prices that you can quote for. So this is how you can use Enact on a very short basis. And I would love to have you guys try out this platform. Happy to take any questions at the end of the session. And thank you so much for your time. So over to you.
Thank you, Arsha. Let's not forget about the pricing and limitation. Enact offers no restriction on project size or number, providing limitless potential for Solar Pro to use Enact platform as much as they need. In conclusion, Enact Solar Design offers advantages for professional, empowering you to design, analyze, and finance solar project with simplicity and precision. Now, over to Nikhil, Deep, and Ethan for a quick discussion on market trends for solar sales and design, and the need of a solar platform like Enact. During the discussion, feel free to post any question you will have on the chat, and we will answer to you at the end of the call.
Great. Thank you, Manuel and Nikhil. I'm Hiten. Great to have you on a forum like this. And thank you for taking time on a working day to share some of your experience with us. Harsha, thanks for that introduction. I know the topic today is solar sales. How do we expand pipelines faster? What challenges do people face, especially in the commercial industrial sector? So quick proposals is very important, of course, Harsha, as you mentioned, because you have to do many of these proposals to get a sale. Would love to first start with Nikhil here on his experience managing a sales team and the sales process, the conversions of proposals to closings, or proposals to meetings and closings. And Nikhil, can you share some light on this topic?
Right. Thank you so much. First of all, Deep, Harsh, and Manuel for inviting me for this webinar. And hello to all the audience. As you rightly mentioned, Deep, the most important parameter for our sales team is actually to induce the trust first. And inducing trust comes with a convincible promise to be delivered to the customer. And that delivery will happen later on by the ops team. But the impression of whether there is a possibility of even that promise getting fulfilled or not, that will happen at the initial stage, the pre-sales and the sales stage. And I believe that the teams have to be equipped well so that they can, one, give the accurate, quick proposals to the customers, so that customers can have that trust and confidence that these things, whatever are being shown, will happen in reality on his rooftop. And secondly, you rightly mentioned that there is an uptick in the rooftop solar segment in India. We are seeing good solar projects getting installed in commercial, industrial, and the rooftop is also one of the emerging sectors. With the PM Surya Ghar scheme that is launched recently, we are seeing that there's a good traction all across India that is being seen. So it is very, very important that our sales team starts investing the time in very, very useful set of activities. So delivering large set of proposals which are fairly accurate, which are fairly convincing, because shadow analysis plays a very, very important role, and ensuring that the customers receive it in a manner they should be able to get conviction is the most important aspect in this scheme of things. And I believe some of these things our team is experimenting and have been able to achieve with Enact's platform. So just two aspects: the streamlining of the process is very important, and secondly, the scalability of the system, so that the sales teams can deliver lot many things a lot faster, quicker, and accurately. This is how I would probably term one of the most important problem statements that the sales team these days face. And I believe the platform is helping our team.
Thank you for that, your confidence and great feedback. You mentioned the process. As a large EPC, you must have, of course, sales, you have in-house engineering for detailed design. How's the coordination between those teams, and how does the engineering team sometimes view such platforms? Are they approving it, or how long will it take for them to build the trust?
Right. So typically at SolarSquare, we have a two-step process in the similar slide which Harsha had shown, that we have a pre-sales process and a post-sales process. And in both these processes, the role of engineering team is very, very pivotal. I would say that the promise at the pre-sale stage cannot be breached at the post-sale stage, and hence the team having that conviction that, okay, my pre-sales design is as close to or as accurate as the actual blueprint of what is going to go on the plant later on. These are very, very important aspects when it comes to the conviction part of it. So what matters in the complete scheme of things is, as I mentioned, the shadow analysis matters a lot. So at SolarSquare, what we do is that first assess whether there is a physical need of a site visit is essential or not. If the physical visit to the site is not essential, which is fairly visible with the Google imagery, we can immediately generate a 3D design for a given site, and we do not need to invest any time in actually conducting survey at the site. So this is very important aspect. And the second important aspect is whether this initially generated pre-sales design is going to be very close to the post sale design or not, right? If there are any deviations, that is only going to breach or impede the trust that was going to be established. So having fairly accurate pre and post designs is what matters the most here. And with the processes that we have established at SolarSquare, we call the two surveys are there at SolarSquare. One is a pre-sales survey, whether it happens virtually or physically, depending on the complexity of the site, the shadow objects at the site location. We try and avoid these visits to a level possible, because the amount of proposals that we need to handle is fairly large in volume. So we try and see that these can actually scenes can be created virtually rather. But if it's a complex site and that necessitates that for engineering members or technicians, they ought to visit the site, then of course we ensure that visit happens. The first survey we call as a field level survey, because that's the kind of accuracy we can achieve with virtual kind of setup. And once an initial assessment done and the technical feasibility of the site is confirmed, when the sale has actually happened, we conduct another survey, which is an in-level survey. There are more minute details at the site level and observed. And if there are any deviations in the original design which was done at the pre-sale stage, whether there is any deviations from that original design, that is getting confirmed at a post-sale survey. So I would say at both these stages, the buy-in of my design team is absolutely essential, because these approvals ensure that there is hardly any deviations when actually the project is going to be physically installed at the site, because I cannot afford to have deviations in the supplies later on, which could have been avoided at an early stage. So the failures at a later stage actually cause a lot of headache, lot of chaos, and lot of customer satisfaction index is going down because of those chaoses. So if we can avoid those chaoses in the system, I think that will be really helpful, and that's where the pre-post both checks are important.
Absolutely. I think we can't overpromise, right? And that's the key. How do you manage that experience well? Related question for sorry, I think then switching over to you. You have seen quite a lot of software platforms in your career at Solar, and tell us about your experience. Same topic, this sales and engineering and coordination.
Yeah, thanks, Deep. And so thanks to Nikhil for enlightening with a lot of his comments. I see a lot of value in using the software platforms for especially distributed solar, because the market is very fragmented, the customers are very spread out, and there are very limited resources that an EPC company or a developer company can have. And while a distributed solar customer would typically want to buy maybe even a smaller project like 5 kilowatt or 100 kilowatts, they still want to have a lot of options on what is our investment versus payback on a capex. Does capex make sense for them, or does OPEX model make sense for them? And these days we also have something like a deferred capex, which also customers want to know. Also, their concerns are they want to have a clarity on the generation of systems versus what is also going to be their total savings over the 25 years, including their operating cost on operation and maintenance. And many times we find that customers miss the cost of adding the inverter replacement and few other upgradations during the life of 25 years of the asset. And therefore, I feel the more empowerment which can be given to the frontline salesperson, he has the ability to, stimulate and show the results to the customer then and there. Therefore, accelerating the whole decision-making process with a lot of informed decision-making tools in front of the customer.
Thanks. That's an interesting topic. Do customers come back to you on outcomes versus the original proposal?
Right. As I mentioned, the outcome from the initial submissions to the final submissions, they have to match as much as possible. And we have seen that if there are minor details which if they get missed during the design engineering visits or the surveys we otherwise call that, then it may result into the deviations. And the minor, especially in India, we are still struggling a bit on the resolution of the Google Maps, which are available to us. So, but in commercial industrial projects, it seldom matters. We have fairly accurate estimates. We 5% range at the initial stage. So that is the kind of accuracy which anybody would desire in the scheme of things. And as Hiten also very clearly mentioned, ultimately for the end user, the savings do matter. And what is the system that that is going to generate for me, and what's the kind of savings that I'm going to have from my bills every month. That is the ultimate objective of establishing a solar plant, apart from the reversal of the climate change that we all are on a mission on. I believe that the tools should be made available in such a way that one, it is very easy, user friendly, and even the sales team members can easily handle it. Should be compatible with various browsers and devices. This is what actually in the end matters, because every day the sales members open up their daily routine or a schedule. They should also know what should be my focus on today, which customer should I follow on, which customer should I submit my next proposals, should I be submitting my revisions. All those things do matter in the scheme of things, Deep.
Sure. Yeah, and this is a follow-up question for both of you, since you have been in the industry for a long time. What can software do better? I know you like some of the things you have, but what can we do better? What are some of the features you would like to see us missing, especially for the Indian context?
I believe the platform is well built. First of all, congratulations. And I also want to emphasize that there were a couple of things which we had highlighted to Enact team a month back as a feedback, and they were promptly taken up. So I am seeing those changes getting rolled out in the coming release. But in general, I believe the expectations of the platform, out of the platform, any software platform that we use, is one, the speed and the compatibility that matters the most. The compatibility with the devices on which this and the operating systems on which this platform can be operated, that matters the most. The flexibility of incorporating various options of modules and inverters, those can get easily integrated into the scheme of things, because the technologies are evolving every now and then, and having that flexibility is something that everybody would desire. And I believe that these are like very, very basic level things that need to be ensured. They are already 100% there in the platform. I have also seen the financial integrations that you guys have done for every discom in India. That is something which is very unique. I haven't seen many people do it, because the tariff keeps on changing, and that has a direct impact on the ROI. We have seen a recent drop in the tariff in the state of Karnataka, and having that integration in place actually helps immediately see the reflections. Even if the proposal was submitted 15 days back, if there is any change, that change can easily be visible and translated into the proposal. That is a very good addition. I think the shadow analysis and the ultimate outcome of what my system is going to generate is also a very important aspect, because that is the promise which is going out to the customer, and it has to be fairly accurate. It has to be fairly reasonable, reliable, based on the irradiation data, the sources with which we are linking our ultimate outcome of the project. So that reliability matters the most, which all sources we have the integrations, the backend. And there we have found that the system was compatible with almost all important and tier 1, tier 2 model manufacturers, inverter manufacturers, even the data sources. There's a flexibility that is something which our team really appreciated. In terms of integration with the outside systems, I believe there are APIs which are also exposed for more CRM integrations. I believe some advanced analytics would maybe helpful as a feedback if you are asking for example, the deemed generation aspect, because in India the grid is sometimes the grid is out for a few hours to a full day, and that actually can impact one, the generation not getting fulfilled as per the expectation setting. So there is a deviation because of simulated results versus the actual result at the field level. And if that deemed generation, which is the potential generation which is getting lost, if that can get captured somehow in the final set of reports which reach customers post their installation, that will be a really value add thing for the from the end customers believability perspective.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very good feedback. And yeah, we have some things coming on that front. Similar question for Hiten. Hiten, please share your thoughts also on, what can be done with software that you haven't seen so far, right? And where is the opportunity in India?
Yeah, I think the software can add a lot of value in terms of being more predictive and give a more proactive heads up on if there is any attention with the system needs. Because while buying a software, a solar system, a customer requires a certain performance, certain delivery, and with a lot of safety. And I think thanks to the software, this data is captured, and then it can be also reviewed and measured. And also, I believe the project management status while the system is being built, and ability to compare with what was promised and what is delivered. I think there the software can bring in a lot of transparency and a lot of accountability as well.
Absolutely. Yes. I think we are approaching the second half here. We are looking forward to some audience questions. I see some questions coming in. Please post your questions for Hiten and Nikhil and us. This is a good time to ask them any thoughts you have. Also, while we're gathering some questions, I do want to ask again, both of you, tell us about the Indian solar market. We have talked enough about software. What are you guys seeing in the solar market? What are some new segments opening up? And how does the year look this year and the next? Nikhil, maybe you can go first.
Yeah. As we all know, roughly 83, 84 gigawatts of solar is already there in India now. Bulk of it is, of course, the utility scale segment. Almost 70 gigawatts plus would be the utility scale segment. Roughly 11, 12 gigawatts has come from rooftop segment. And the government's original plan was to have a very good chunk of volume coming from the rooftop segment. The original target was 40 gigawatt by 2022. Unfortunately, we are far away from that number, and the government also realized that they need to have some policy regulations to be eased out, simplified for the sector, and they came up with the new set of schemes now. And we're seeing that the traction on the rooftop segment, specifically the residential segment, is coming up very smoothly, and many things are being undertaken by the Ministry of New Renewable Energy. Lots of discoms are also now forward looking in terms of fulfilling their own obligations towards the renewable purchase RPOs, and they are also ensuring that their systems are getting seamlessly integrated with the central system so that the subsidy process also gets streamlined. There's a huge subsidy announcement that was done by the PM on under the scheme of PM Surya Ghar, wherein the allocation is 75,000 crore rupees, and they want to solarize 1 crore homes in a span of 3 to 5 years. This is a huge volume, and we're talking about 30 gigawatts of solar getting installed in 3 to 5 years time. This is a huge opportunity, and everybody in the sector is now looking forward to establishing more organized, more channelized kind of a model in which the targets can be achieved for India, because absolutely critical that the Make in India is also promoted along with the end consumers getting benefited, because day by day we are seeing that the rates of electricity are going up. All like Maharashtra, we have seen recent hikes as high as 10% in fixed cost, 7% in the variable cost. So that has started making the solar more viable from the end customers' acceptability perspective. So in other words, I would say that the awareness barrier, that customers were first waiting that, okay, whether solar is good for me, whether I should adopt it, whether it is good for my rooftop, those kinds of the initial set of questions, they are no more there. There is a lot of buzz around, and people now understand, okay, what are the benefits that they will have out of the system. Nobody wants to lose the bus, they want to avail the subsidies as quickly as possible. So since the announcements, we are seeing that this sector, the residential sector, is seeing a lot of good traction, and that is picking up very nicely in all the nooks and corners of India. And we're getting lots of invites also to launch our operations across multiple cities where we are still not operational. So that's a very good sign from the sectors getting attention from all the officers, the industry fraternity is also focusing on it, and even the end consumers who are the ultimate acceptors of the systems, they are also like forward looking now. So the ecosystem is actually developing a bit better, I would say. Maybe utility scale or a commercial industrial sectors, Hiten can comment a bit.
Thanks, Nikhil bhai. Yeah, so Deep, I think as a country, India is leaving no bounds left in terms of accelerating the adoption of clean energy. India understands that yes, we are one of the large polluters of greenhouse gas emissions, and the ambitious targets to spell out, just on the residential market, the country has planned to do a 30 gigawatt of residential solar in the coming 5 to 7 years. In addition to that, the open access market is picking up pace, and it is adding almost average 4 to 5 gigawatts year on year. The utility scale market also remains solid, and it is deploying almost 10 gigawatt installations every year. On top of it, also very innovative solutions like carports, busports, floating solar is also being deployed, and a lot of greening is happening to that effect as well. And in terms of self-dependency, the manufacturing industry has also been given a lot of impetus, and a lot of performance-linked incentives have been awarded, so that the India manufacturers can now, take strong bets and invest large capital on manufacturing of polysilicon, wafers, ingots, and cells and modules in the country itself. And also very promising development on the India manufacturing story is that a lot of exports is being embraced by the American customers and the customers from the West. So all in all, I think India is very clear about the goals that they want to achieve in terms of going towards net zero and increasing the carbon neutrality.
Yes, absolutely. And this is very exciting times, I guess, for all solar professionals, right? We have waited for this time to have such a rapid scale up. There's an audience, a bunch of audience questions. I'm picking a few here. First one asks about if maybe you can elaborate on the subsidy in Delhi government. Anyone wants to take that? Are there some changes?
Yeah. I'll just add for the residential sector that the subsidy which has been made available is all across the India. Uh, we're seeing that the subsidy has been capped the residential sector to 3 kilowatt is the maximum kilowatt capacity, above which the subsidy remains constant. For first kilowatt, the subsidy which is given for the residential customer is 30,000 rupees per kilowatt. For second kilowatt also 30,000, so it becomes 60,000 rupees for a 2 kilowatt system. 18,000 rupees is the additional subsidy which is given for a 2 to 3 kilowatt 1 kilowatt addition. So in all, we are saying that for a customer who is availing 3 kilowatt or more in a residential sector, he's going to get 78,000 rupees subsidy from the central government directly. And for the Residential Welfare Association, which is a cooperative housing society segment, there's a flat subsidy which is announced by the government, which is 18,000 rupees per kilowatt. And the subsidy that can be given for the Residential Welfare Association is up to 500 kilowatt project. So the sector can actually get 500 into 18,000 is 90 lakh rupees subsidy in the best case, if the apartment size is as huge as establishing a 500 kilowatt project. So these are the two subsidies which are available for every city in India, and Delhi is no exception. Apart from that, I think Delhi government is also contemplating some net metering policies in which if you are exporting the additional power, you can sell that additional power at a much higher rate than the normal APPC rate, which is average power purchase rate. So that is still in discussion stage. I believe they were contemplating a scheme where you can sell the power at much higher rate, up to 5 rupees or so. Yet to see that in action on field and on paper, but there were discussions going on those lines.
That's very helpful. Thanks for sharing. Hiten, maybe this question is for you. You had talked about performance of sites, actual sites versus plan. The question asked here is, can you tell us about the top 3 reasons why sometimes the sites don't meet the expected results? What are the common reasons? And maybe Nikhil, you can take that too. Nikhil, up to you. So in our experience, we have seen, of course, the number one reason is inverter failures. And if you fail an inverter for even a few weeks, it shows in the whole year's report because you lose generation for that time. And by the time you get the replacement, you lost time. The second, of course, is soiling, but not necessarily in every country. And if you don't clean them quickly enough, we're seeing a big issue. But what are some of the things you're seeing?
Yeah, so soiling is one very important factor because in many sectors, the people have a tendency that they do not want to provide the after sales service, and that actually results into something which is not very good for the module itself, because the nature of the dust in India is sticky in nature. It doesn't go away with simply sprinkling of water. It just needs a special brushes which need to be applied on the module surface very neatly, and it will avoid some other failures in future, such as hotspots and the damages to the modules that can be caused over period. Second, as you rightly mentioned, the inverter failures, which is seen as the second biggest failures. We also see that not a failure, but many a times the reliability on the communication between the site and the server, the Wi-Fi's and the SIM cards, if they are not appropriately maintained, the passwords get changed, or the SIM cards are not in reach. Those things also impact, because the alerts will not come, the errors will not pop up, and the system is generating or not. That will become an opaque information. It will not be available to the team who is actually supposed to maintain the plant. So yeah, these are important aspects as far as the plant maintenance is concerned. We are also seeing that the impacts of the storms these days. I mentioned about the sandstorm which came just yesterday. Mumbai was hit with a huge sandstorm, and the mechanical disintegrity, if the systems are not well maintained, and if the tightening of the mechanical items are not done in a timely manner, in a rightful scientific or logical manner, then that can also result into the dislodging of modules itself or dislodging of the mechanical components of the system itself. That can be a bigger disaster to tackle upon. So having a right system installed, which actually can which can prevent all these potential failures, will be critical.
Absolutely. Hitan, would you like to add to that? On failures of systems
Not
and
really deep.
common
I think
issues?
Nikhil's response was quite elaborate on this.
Thank you. There's one follow-up question, similar topic, is asking, do you think climate change and seasonal shift is also a factor that, what we predict is not what we get?
I can comment on this. Definitely, we've seen that year on year, the rise in temperature is showing up, and that is causing slight bit of a drop in the expected aspect. Is also the level of irradiation that is actually perceived at site. The seasonal changes do impact some generation, but statistically we are seeing that at least the irradiation levels are within the limits, barring some of the northern cities like Delhi and Chandigarh, where we see that the irradiation level, what is actually shown through satellites versus actually on the ground, there is a huge difference because of the fogs and the smog which is there for the winter months. So that is definitely there. These are not the natural activities. They are like more artificial man-made factors where we are resulting that into the sunlight not reaching the panels in those cities. Apart from this, I believe the civilization, the civil constructions, the expansions which are happening all around, that also has caused a significant level of soiling losses going up. We see that if the systems are left uncleaned for 3 to 5 months, we are seeing the drops will be as high as 30 to 50%. And in residential sector or in housing society sector, that becomes very, very important, because ultimately the promise of achieving certain generation is linked to activities which are not actually in your control. So these are the factors which are also impacting the generation in general.
Yes, that's a huge issue. For example, we see that in the Middle East, and you have to factor that into your financials, right? Otherwise, you're not going to see a decent ROI. We have time for only one or two questions left. We are trying to wrap up. One question that came earlier, can you tell us a little bit about financing in general for commercial projects? I know PPAs were around for a long time. Now loans are coming in. What percentage of deals do you see financed, or is cash picking up faster than you thought?
So we're seeing a good set of financial institutions coming up with the schemes for all set of customers, the commercial industrial customers as well as the residential set of customers. There's a good set of capital being made available now. There's a push from the central government also, because they want to now see the rooftop in action. So they have almost given a very, very strong direction to all the banks in India that they need to have a dedicated desk which is going to help facilitate the loans. Solar is no longer on paper, remains as a priority sector. It is coming in action as a priority sector. So priority sector lending is coming in action is what I also see these days. People are inclined towards earlier the era was of the OPEX deals. Now we are seeing that the pseudo OPEX deals, where people are okay to take the loans against the assets without collateral, that is also coming in action for certain set of segments of customers. So collateral free loans, which were earlier not easily available, now are getting available for the end set of customers. There are certain entities who do the equipment financing on a lease rental basis. That model is also emerging in India. So yeah, I believe that the self financing was used to be the only option, and the OPEX was second, where the developers would sell the power to the consumer. Now there are multiple options which are getting emerged beyond the self financing and OPEX.
That's excellent. Hitan, any words on that topic before we wrap up?
Yeah, here the advantage and the very big shift, Deep, is that even creative financing solutions are now being available for homeowners and also for the housing societies as well. So, the deferred capex and the opex, which used to be earlier restricted to and limited to the profitable and credit-worthy commercial industrial customers, the market is maturing and evolving towards having appetite to also finance slightly riskier assets and off-takers as well. So I think the revolution for clean energy deployment in India has become kind of unstoppable now, and the country is well placed to kind of accelerate and achieve their goals probably before the deadline as well.
Yes, I think that's icing on the cake. So it's a great note to kind of wrap up our webinar here. There's some excellent questions. Thank you, audience, for engaging. I also want to thank, of course, Nikhil and Hiten for joining. And Manuel, thank you for organizing this, and Harsha. We will wrap up here. And please, again, connect with us. We have everything online, but it's always better to talk, call us. We have an email here also on the slide. Let us know how can we help you on your solar software journey or sales team trainings, designs, and of course, project asset management. There's a lot we can do, and we are operating around the clock. Enact is in 35 countries. We have thousands of users and a platform that is now in its 10th year. So we are not new, and we have done a lot of work, of course, in India. So on that note, thank you again for joining, and looking forward to the next webinar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.